There is a fortress within you, a citadel of self-construction that has been built over a lifetime, stone by heavy stone. Its walls are made of your achievements and failures, its moat is filled with your fears and desires, and its flag bears the singular, unwavering emblem of I. This is the domain of the Nafs, the ego self, and it believes itself to be the entirety of who you are. It is a master architect of defense, capable of turning even your most sincere spiritual aspirations into new bricks for its walls. It will give you the identity of a seeker to protect you from the terror of actually being found. It will grant you moments of peace to convince you that you have arrived, all while keeping you safely within the borders of its known kingdom. But there comes a moment on the path, a moment of divine appointment, when this fortress encounters a force it cannot fortify against, a force that does not seek to breach the walls, but to transmute them into light. This is the moment of the ego's final stand, when the relentless, oceanic presence of divine love arrives not as a gentle stream, but as a wall of fire, and every defense you have ever erected begins to burn. You can feel this final stand approaching in the peculiar intensity of your inner struggle. The ego, sensing an existential threat, becomes more cunning and desperate than ever before. It will launch its most sophisticated attacks disguised as wisdom. You are not pure enough for this love, it whispers, using humility as a barrier. This is just emotionalism, you need more intellectual understanding, it argues, using rationality as a shield. It will present you with a meticulous inventory of your unworthiness, a list of every sin and flaw, hoping that the sheer weight of your perceived imperfection will convince you to close the gates and refuse the beloved. It may even stage a grand spiritual crisis, a dark night of the soul so profound that you become utterly consumed by the drama of your own separation, thereby keeping your attention firmly on the problem of you and away from the solution, which is the annihilating presence of him. This is the ego's last, great performance, a masterpiece of self-preservation staged at the very threshold of self-surrender. Yet, something has shifted within you. A core of longing in your heart has become so intense, so concentrated, that it has become a divine magnet, and the beloved is now answering with a corresponding intensity. This is not the gentle, comforting love you may have experienced before. This is Ishq, the sacred, consuming fire of love that the Sufis speak of in hushed and awe-filled tones. It does not knock politely on the door of your heart, it surrounds the entire fortress. It applies a gentle, unbearable heat to every stone of your identity. The pain you feel is not one of punishment, but of profound metamorphosis, the agony of the solid becoming liquid, the finite becoming infinite. The ego screams in protest, marshalling every memory, every fear, every last shred of its cleverness to maintain its form. But it is too late. The fire has been lit from within and without. The final siege is underway. And the only thing left to be decided is whether you will perish in the flames, or discover that you are the flame itself. In its final, desperate hour, the ego reveals the full extent of its cunning. It understands that a direct confrontation is futile against the oceanic force of divine love, and so it shifts its strategy from defense to deception. Its first and most insidious tactic is the imitation of surrender. It will craft for you a beautiful, moving fantasy of letting go. You may experience visions of bowing, of offering your heart, of speaking words of profound submission. But observe closely, in this fantasy, who is the central figure performing this magnificent surrender? It is still you. The ego has simply dressed itself in the robes of a saint, offering a theatrical performance of annihilation that is, in its very core, an act of self-glorification. It whispers, "See how beautifully I surrender. What a wondrous seeker I am." This is the most subtle of traps, for it uses the very language of the path to keep you stranded on the shore, admiring your own reflection in the water instead of diving into the depths. When this imitation fails to satisfy the growing urgency of the heart, the ego deploys its second tactic, the manufactured unworthiness. It will project onto the screen of your mind a meticulously curated gallery of your every failing, every harsh word, every moment of negligence, every shadow that has ever passed through you. It will present this not with the intention of prompting sincere remorse, but to convince you of a fundamental, irredeemable flaw in your being that makes you unworthy of this divine approach. How could such a pure love want something as broken as you? It hisses. This is a scorched earth policy. If it cannot maintain its kingdom, it will convince you that the entire territory is worthless and should be abandoned in shame, not offered in love. It wants you to run from the fire, not because the fire will destroy you, but because it fears the fire will reveal that you were gold all along. And when even this fails, the ego makes its ultimate, most terrifying gambit, the dissolution into nothingness. It will present you with a void, a chilling, existential abyss of non-being. It will say, this surrender you seek is the end of everything. It is the annihilation of all you have ever known, all you have ever been. It is a darkness from which there is no return. It dresses its own fear of extinction in the philosophical garb of wisdom, hoping the prospect of ontological oblivion will cause you to recoil and cling to the familiar misery of your separate self. What it cannot comprehend, and what you are just beginning to glimpse, is that the nothingness it threatens you with is a lie. The ego can only imagine its own destruction, not the reality of what lies beyond it. It does not know that on the other side of its own imagined annihilation is not a void, but a plenitude, not darkness, but a light so absolute it has no opposite, not the end of you, but the beginning of the true you. The fortress walls are not merely cracking from the outside pressure, they are beginning to glow from a heat they were never designed to withstand, revealing that their substance was always light, waiting to be remembered. The turning point arrives not with a battle cry, but with a profound and unsettling silence. It is the moment the chaotic noise of the ego's deceptions, its imitations, its accusations, its terrifying prophecies suddenly loses its persuasive power. This occurs when the heart, weary of the endless internal war, makes a simple yet revolutionary decision to stop listening to the content of the messages and instead to turn its attention toward the source of the messages themselves. You step back, in a moment of breathtaking lucidity, and you simply observe dramas, manufacture its unworthiness, and threaten you with oblivion. And in that pure, observational space, a fundamental realization dawns: the one who is watching is not the one who is speaking. The fear of annihilation is just another performance being witnessed by a consciousness that itself feels no such fear. The manufactured unworthiness is a play being staged for an audience that recognizes it as fiction. This witnessing awareness, this silent, luminous you that exists behind the curtain of thought, is what the ego has always feared, for it is the one thing the ego can never impersonate or control. From this vantage point of the witnessing heart, the divine fire no longer appears as a threat, but as a revelation. You realize that the love which seemed to be attacking you from outside was, in truth, the deepest nature of your own awareness calling you home. The fire was not surrounding a fortress, it was illuminating the fact that the fortress itself was an illusion, a phantom structure made of belief and identification. The heat you felt was not the pain of destruction, but the discomfort of truth burning away falsehood. With this realization, the heart makes its choice. It does not fight. It does not negotiate. It does not even surrender in the way the ego understands surrender, as a defeat. Instead, it makes a conscious, willing, and utterly fearless leap, a leap directly into the center of the flames. It is the ultimate act of faith, not faith in a concept, but faith in the very substance of reality itself. You are not jumping into a fire, you are jumping into the realization that you have always been of the fire, and that the separate, solid you was merely a temporary cooling, a momentary forgetting. As you leap, a great inversion occurs. The ego's final, desperate scream of "I am dying" is met not with an answer, but with a profound, all-encompassing silence that absorbs the sound and returns only peace. The walls of the fortress do not shatter, they are seen through. They are revealed to be made of nothing more substantial than mist, and the divine light that was supposedly outside pours through them unimpeded, not because it broke them down, but because it revealed their inherent insubstantiality. The struggle ceases not with a climax, but with a dissolution. The one who was struggling simply isn't. And what remains is not a void, not an emptiness, but a breathtaking, boundless intimacy. The love that was once perceived as a force against you is now known as the very core of your being. The final stand is over. The defender has vanished. And all that is left is the undeniable, radiant truth that the beloved and the lover were never two, and that the only thing ever burned in this sacred fire was the illusion of separation. What remains when the fortress of self has dissolved into light? What is left to walk, to speak, to act in the world? What emerges from the ashes of the ego's final stand is not a vacant silence, but the vibrant, luminous reality that the fortress had obscured all along, the continuous, uncreated presence of the divine, now functioning as what you once called I. This is not a state of being unconscious, but of being superconsciously awake, more awake than you have ever been, because the dull, filtering screen of the separate self is gone. The great Sufi term for this is Baqa, the state of abiding in God after the annihilation of the ego. You have not been destroyed, you have been returned to your original, primordial condition. The drop has not vanished, it has discovered it is the ocean. And the ocean now lives the life of the drop, consciously, joyfully, and with infinite freedom. In this dawn of the real, your perception is utterly transformed. You look out through the same eyes, but they are no longer your eyes, they are the eyes of the beloved, looking upon his own creation. The tree outside your window is not an object separate from you, it is a thought in the mind of God, appearing in the awareness that you are. The person speaking to you is not a stranger, they are the divine, playing the role of other in the eternal game of hide-and-seek. This is not a philosophical belief, it is the direct, perceptual reality of your existence. There is no longer a you in a world. There is only the one, manifesting in infinite, seamless forms. Actions continue, you eat, you work, you speak, but they are no longer initiated by a personal will. They arise spontaneously from the situation itself, from the divine imperative of the moment. You are a perfect instrument, played by the musician. There is no doer, only the deed, no lover, only the loving. This state of abiding expresses itself in the world as a love that is both unconditional and utterly practical. The compassion that flows through you is not a sentimental feeling, but the natural, gravitational pull of the whole caring for its parts. You help others not because you are a good person, but because the hand naturally moves to soothe the pain in the body. The entire cosmos is this one body, and you are its awakened heart. The anxieties that once ruled your life, the fear of loss, the craving for approval, the resistance to change are seen to be impossible. How can the ocean fear a wave? How can the sun crave a candle's approval? A profound, unshakable peace becomes the bedrock of your existence, not as a temporary mood, but as the very atmosphere of the real. The battle is over. The war is won. The love that burned through every defense was not an enemy, but your own forgotten face, returning to claim its kingdom. And now, it is all that remains. This was the journey through the ego's final stand to the dawn of abiding in the real. But the path of integration is endless. In the comments, describe one ordinary moment from your recent life, drinking tea, hearing rain, a friend's smile, and how viewing it from this state of unity could transform it. Let's witness the sacred and the simple, together. And if you feel called to explore the ultimate responsibility of this abiding state, how to be a perfect servant in this world, your next chapter of service awaits in the video that appears now. Malamat, the forbidden Sufi path where blame becomes blessing,